Donald Trump's victory is headline news across the world. The president-elect and his team are vowing to dramatically change U.S. foreign policy. Nick Schifrin's here now. He's been tracking international reaction to the election. Good to see you, Nick.
Thanks, Alma.
We knew the world would be watching, so let's start in Europe. What's been the reaction there, and what could be the impact on Ukraine?
European officials in public put a brave face, but multiple European officials, to me, admitted today that they fear Trump will treat them as an economic foe, will undermine NATO, and will abandon Ukraine. Trump has promised to end the war in Ukraine before inauguration, actually, and he's given no details, but the vice president-elect has suggested that the plan could be Russia keeps territory occupied, create a demilitarized zone, and Ukraine gives up on its NATO aspirations. That is a non-starter, of course, for Ukraine, but President Trump will have enormous leverage over Ukraine. The U.S. by far is the largest military donor to Ukraine, and U.S. officials are telling Europe essentially today, hey, look, this is going to be your problem. You have to help Ukraine, but there is no replacement for U.S. weapons on the battlefield, and Ukraine will really struggle without them. Now, in public, as I said, everybody's saying nice things. Zelensky spoke to President Trump and said, quote, congratulated him on his historic landslide victory. His tremendous campaign made this result possible. French President Emmanuel Macron on X wrote, congratulations, President Donald Trump, ready to work together as we did for 4 years with your convictions and mine, with respect and ambition for more peace and prosperity. But as I said, the European concern goes beyond Ukraine. Trump has said he will not defend members of NATO that do not spend 2% of GDP on defense. And Trump has also vowed to put tariffs on European goods. And analysts say that Europe will actually reply to those tariffs and start a trade war.
Take us over to the Middle East now. You've been reporting on the conflicts there. What's been the response in the Middle East?
Arab and Israeli officials telling me they're actually optimistic, although they acknowledge that Trump is unpredictable. There were no buts, however, in Netanyahu's statement earlier today. He said, quote, congratulations on history's greatest comeback. Your historic return to the White House offers a new beginning for America and a powerful recommitment to the great alliance between Israel and America. Now, like Ukraine, Trump has promised to end the war in Gaza before inauguration, even though he's actually been publicly critical of the, quote, very bad picture of the destruction that Israel has caused. The Biden administration, as you know, has been working on a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, but both sides so far have been unwilling to do that. But today, an Israeli official told me this, that Benjamin Netanyahu knows that Trump wants to win the Nobel Prize, and that Netanyahu will try to help Trump win that by offering a, quote, gesture to Trump on Inauguration Day. Now, what could that mean? If they try and do some kind of ceasefire in Gaza, or perhaps a little easier, a ceasefire in Lebanon, where, by the way, Trump's son-in-law is from, U.S. officials tell me that the Biden administration has largely completed a ceasefire text from Lebanon, but Israel hasn't agreed. So there is a scenario, in fact, where all of the work that the Biden administration has done to try and get, at the very least, a ceasefire in Lebanon could actually be executed under a Trump administration.
So there's willingness there of Arab and Israeli leaders to work with a President-elect Trump. Where does that trust come from?
It comes from their experience in the first Trump administration. They were very close to Israeli officials, very close to Saudi Arabia especially, and they were more focused on normalization deals than on Israeli and Palestinian peace. For Israel, you'll remember Trump gave Netanyahu almost everything he wanted. Of course, Trump moved the embassy, the U.S. embassy, from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. You see the exterior of the embassy there. Trump's first foreign policy trip was to Riyadh, and he highlighted, including in that event right there, Saudi Arabia's role across the region. And he was very close to Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. You see MBS, as he's known, in the Oval Office. Now, a regional official tells me that Saudi Arabia is ready to normalize with Israel today, but Israel must agree to a day-after plan in Gaza, announce intention to create a Palestinian state. So far, those are steps Netanyahu has refused. In the meantime, of course, Amna, the war in Gaza, the war in Lebanon continues. We had a producer, Shams Odeh, out in Gaza talking to Gazans about Trump today. Some were very skeptical, but at least one was optimistic.
Trump could change things since he has different politics than Biden. He could end the war, and it could be to make himself look better, not because he likes us or wants to support us.
But ceasefires in the Middle East, Amna, are easier said than done.
Nick Schifrin, thank you very much.
Thank you.